everyone, this is Aileen Miracle from Mrs. Miracle's Music Room, and today I would like to talk to you about how to create a year plan template. Year planning is something that I learned about in my Kodaly training, and as I've said on my other videos, my Kodaly training, which I took at Capital University, was just life-changing and has helped me so much as a teacher. So if you take a Kodaly course, then they will go over yearly planning and will give you a much better idea of how to really figure out what you're doing for the year with each grade level. And I'm just going to do an overview of how you can create a template so that you can do this to prepare for your year. So I created mine in Excel, and if you notice here, I have one row near the top, which is pretty big, because this is where I put all of my goals for all of my musical concepts and skills, and I'll go over those more in a minute. In my next row here, I have all of the musical concepts and skills that I want to work on, and again, I'll go over those more in a minute. And then I have all of the months of the year. So if you notice, I have 2 rows for August. I actually will be with the students for 3 weeks in August, so I guess I should change that. And then September has 4 weeks. November, because of Thanksgiving, I only put 3 weeks. December, I actually blocked out winter break, and so on. I put in my spring break. And let me just show you, in order to block out like that, so it goes across all of those rows, let's say I wanted to block this out right here. I would just highlight all of those, and then I would go to merge, and it would merge all of them like that. But I'm going to go ahead and hit undo. And then if you notice the months are merged as well. So what I did there is when this was 3 rows here, I highlighted all of them and again went to merge. And then that way you just have like your month header and then all of the weeks. So each row here is supposed to be a week of that month. All right, and then here I have all of the musical concepts and skills, like I said. So this column here is for the songs and chants I want to do that week. Rhythm, so that would be my rhythmic concepts, melodic concepts, reading and writing, vocal exploration, part work, form, listening, all of those musical skills and concepts that you typically see in a general music classroom. And then this assessment column I actually added a few years ago because sometimes you get to the end of a marking period if you're like me and you realize, oh my goodness, I don't have quite as many summative assessments as I wanted. So this really helps me keep track of all the summative assessments I have. And then I put children's literature there, any holiday connections or holiday songs, and then another column for just anything that doesn't quite fit. I'm going to go to my completed year plan. And oh, one more thing I want to just kind of point out is that I have my months are color-coded, and that just helps me visually see the different months. It's the only reason I did that. All right, I'm going to go to my completed first grade year plan. And here you'll notice where it says goals that I have my completed goals, so, or what I'd like to complete by the end of first grade. So for rhythm I have Ti Ta Rest, for melody So Mi La. I'm going to practice melody and rhythm through reading and writing. Vocal exploration, we're going to review the different types of voices, songs and chants, just assorted vocal exploration activities. For part work, we have spoken ostinati, rhythmic ostinati, melodic ostinati, rounds, echoing 4 and 8 beat patterns, echo songs, call response songs. I'm not going to go through every single column here, but you just see that I put in each box what I'd like to do, what I'd like the students to be able to accomplish by the end of their first grade year. And this will depend on your situation and your students and how often you see your students. Just for point of reference, I have my first graders, I used to have them twice a week for 35 minutes, and now I have them once a week for 50 minutes, which is kind of a long time with first grade. But I do, we changed the schedule so that in 3rd and 4th grade, I do get them twice in a rotation or in a week. We have an A, B, C, D, E schedule. So like I said, depending on how often you see your students, your goals may be different, and that's okay. And some people, Kodaly-inspired people, do start with Mi Re Do, and that's fine. You could put that there instead of So Mi La. All right, so once I put the goals for each concept and skill, then I like to kind of block out when we'll be practicing and presenting and preparing and all of that. So at the beginning of the year, we're practicing beat and rhythm from kindergarten. And then I present long and short, which is like a precursor to ta and tt. And then if you look here in November, at the end of November, or close to the end of November, I present tt and ta, if the students are ready. And that's the thing with the year plan is, you know, you kind of lay out what you want, but sometimes your kids aren't where you think they're going to be, or sometimes they're actually moving faster than you thought they were going to be. So it's just really helps to have a foundation so you have something to work from. After I present TT and Ta, then we practice it. And then we start preparing rest in February. And then I present rest at the end of April. And then we practice it. And then if you look at the melody column, we practice high-low at the beginning of the year. And then I start preparing So Me. This looks like, yep, September. And then that's a pretty long preparation process, you'll notice. It's something I really like to spend a lot of time preparing. Because on top of them listening to those intervals, I'm also like introducing a 5-line staff to them and really getting them comfortable finding the lines and spaces. So in January, I present So Me, we practice it, and then we start preparing La, it looks like in April, yep. And then I present La right near the end of the year. I don't actually have school in June anymore. We bumped our calendar, so now we end at the end of May. So after I figure out all those rhythmic and melodic concepts and where, you know, I'm presenting and practicing and preparing and all that, then I actually go to the songs chants column and I figure out what songs and chants I think would work well for what we're practicing, what we're preparing. So at the beginning of the year, I like to use Rickety Rackety because it's a name game. So it's great to do at the beginning of the year. Bear Hunt is an oldie but goodie from kindergarten. It really helps them get their kind of warm up their singing voices and do some vocal exploration and practice beat. I went up the apple tree, a little bit of practicing different types of voices with whispering, and apple tree, of course, is great for beat. So I just kind of go through, depending on what's on the rhythmic and melodic columns, and figure out what songs I'd like to do. Now, if you notice in the beginning of September here, Seashells in red, Doggy Doggies in red, those are because those are new songs that the students don't know from kindergarten. And you can do that however you want, but I like to have them a different color, so it's just a mental note so that I know that they are new songs. Once I figure out the new songs, and you don't have to figure out every single song you're doing for a lesson, you'll notice some of my weeks are a little bit more sparse, like here I only have 4 songs, which I would do more than 4 in a lesson. So you can give yourself some flexibility, but if you put in some songs, that really will help your lesson planning so much. And then I go through each column and I figure out activities that I would like to do each week. You can pull these off your PPPs or your concept plans if you do those, or just activities that you know would work really well for each concept as you're preparing or presenting or practicing. And if you notice, I don't have every single column or every single box filled in, but I have enough boxes filled in that if I look horizontally, like if I'm looking at the first week of September here, okay, I know the songs and chants I'd like to do. I know we're practicing rhythm and practicing high-low. We're going to write on the board with some seashells, maybe on the smart board. They're going to point to a rhythm poster for apple tree. So there are quite a few things here that I can put into my lesson. And do I always put in every single activity on the year plan? No, but it really does give me a good foundation, like I said. I like to leave myself a little bit of flexibility so that if I go to a workshop or I get this idea out of the blue, I can go ahead and put that in there without feeling like I'm messing up my year plan. But it just is such a great foundation to start with to really give you a good overview of where you're going with your students. So I just wanted to show you how I set up the template. So again, in this first box, I have all my goals. In this second row here, I have all the musical skills and concepts, and you can add whatever you want. Like if you want to show your connection to Common Core, you can add a column for Common Core, however you want to do it. And then I add in when I'm doing rhythmic and melodic. I put, you know, when I have my breaks, figure out my songs and chants, and then I go from there and fill in quite a few of these boxes, so I have a good overview of my year. So I hope this has been helpful to you. I'm going to go ahead and show you, oops, sorry. I'm going to go ahead and show you maybe. I'll just go to a new window here. In my Teachers Pay Teachers store, I have a set that has a year plan template just like you just saw. So if you look down here, it's right here, Polish Planning. So this set comes with a year plan template, like I just showed you, if you don't want to build it from scratch. And then it also comes with a completed first grade year plan, just like I just showed you, if you're interested. Like I said, it's really helpful for preparing for the new school year to do a year plan like this. And it might be a little bit overwhelming to think about doing this for every single grade level. So you might just start with one grade level and kind of see how that goes. You might also, I have before when I went into new situations, I didn't really know where the kids were. I've done a quarterly plan, so I just planned out like maybe August, September, and October, just so then I could look in October and reevaluate where they are, did they get as far as I thought they would, that kind of thing. So I hope you have fun planning, and if you are enjoying summer right now, you have a great rest of your summer. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.